Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions regarding this watch. A curious feature of the late 2000s and 2010s at Cartier was that many of the most fascinating technical solutions and complications were launched in the Rotonde De Cartier collection of standard round cases. And so what we have here today is a 2013 SIHH launch, the Cartier Rotonde De Cartier Mysterious Hours in Rose Gold, paying tribute to Cartier's history of mystery clocks and the mystery watch genre of the past. We have two hands that seem to float in space driven by means unseen. It's inside a rose gold case of 42 millimeters diameter, 11.5 millimeters thick, and 47.3 from lug tip to lug tip with a 23 millimeter spacing in between the lugs. Thrown on my wrist, you can appreciate that it's broad and flat. It has a handsome aspect ratio and proportion. It is a large watch, though not quite as large as some of these complicated Cartier from the same period. The watch is inboard of the edge of my wrist. You can see the lugs are far inboard on each side. So I'd say this watch will wear well on a wrist my size or larger, let's say 16 centimeters circumference and up. And being under 12 millimeters thick with a domed bezel, it will slide elegantly underneath a dress cuff, though you may lose access to the dial if you do so. The strap is high grade. We have large rectangular scale, symmetrical scale alligator leather, always a very good cut of the animal. Matte medium brown. We've got a fold edge, a monotone stitch. Calfskin on the bottom. You'll note the absence of any perforations because this watch uses Louis Cartier's ageless deployant clasp design. That's right, back in 1909, when wristwatches were barely even a thing, Louis Cartier created the world's first deployant clasp for a wristwatch, and with some refinements and modifications, it lives on today. And the brilliance of this system, other than its security, is that you tuck the unneeded excess length underneath, so there's no need for messy minder loops. Also, because it's a crimping-based system, you tuck the strap into the buckle and then crimp it to hold it in place. There's no need for a perforation that a pin would grab on a conventional watch, so you don't need these individual perforations. As a result, this is effectively infinite adjustment within the span of the strap. My math teachers always love to say that there are different sized infinities, but even within a finite distance, you have an infinite number of points, so you'll never find yourself in between sizes or perforations with the Cartier clasp design. The strap, as you can see, is fixed in place robustly, and the case flank itself actually has a little revetment. If you take a close look, you can see that the side of the case has been flattened out so that the strap can move without any impediment to its motion, but you can still have the lugs drilled close to the case to make for better fit on a smaller wrist, as well as to draw the strap closer to the case for less daylight between case and strap. So I always love to see that. Taking a quick look at the Caseback, the movement is almost more interesting on the reverse side than on the dial. We'll get to that in just a moment, but let's focus on the dial side. Classically Cartier, albeit with some degree of asymmetry. You can see we have an azurage or concentric pattern underneath a satin finished metallic grille that sits above it in silver. We have a silver white set of tracks for reading the hours and the minutes, and two broadsword style hands that appear to float in space. You can see my little finger waving at you through the back there. I'll remove some of these surly fingerprints from both sides so you can better enjoy the view here. But the way this works is that those hands are on sapphire discs, and the discs are driven by peripheral pinions that are attached to the ring gears of the discs. You can't see the ring gears of the discs, and you can't see the pinions that drive them, but it's a wonderful thing to show to your friends who are going to be mystified by it. And frankly, I always find a watch like this with an unconventional complication or display makes the case for mechanical watchmaking more easily than if you're just trying to show your non-believer friend a Rolex or an Omega. There's something gee whiz about this, almost from the world of gadgets and the kind of amusement those inspire. This will get people into mechanical horology. Of course, Cartier uses radially arrayed Roman numerals, including a watchmaker's 4. Cartier, the name in this instance, becomes the secret signature. And then you can see the depth of the grill, the 2-layer dial. Turning it all over, the movement is large. This is designed and built in Cartier's La Chaux-de-Fonds manufacture for its movements, the 9981MC. It's large at 31.9 millimeters, so it properly fills this large case. It beats away at 4 hertz, pivots on 27 jewels, and in spite of the tiny barrel, which is necessitated by the display system, it's still a 48-hour power reserve, which is impressive. There's a lovely snailing across all the bridges. You can see each screw head has been mirror polished. The beveling is credible, mechanically applied, but mirrored and attractive. And then we have a combination of the Cartier Fired Blue C with an eccentric screw ultra-fine adjustment mechanism. And then we have Edicron with the silver key being used for beat error correction and the golden one used for timing adjustments. You can see on its periphery the movement has good depth. It's nicely detailed. I would actually say in some regards it's a little bit better finished than a standard JLC Zenith, GO, or Audemars Piguet movement. It's quite attractive. From this angle, you get a little bit of a view of the mechanism that drives the discs. You can see it peeking out underneath 9981 right there. That's how it works. And it is a very, very cool system. All of this water resistant down to 30 meters, so you don't want to take it swimming, but it's protected against inadvertent rain exposure and splashes. One of the neatest watches I've seen from Cartier, and remarkably, it's a 2-hand watch that is nevertheless almost as intriguing as a complication. So reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.